What's up, y'all? You're watching Union Minded. I'm your host, Eric, and today we are going to talk about the Davis-Bacon Act, which is undergoing some changes that are going to go into effect October 23rd. Now, these changes are going to have profound effects on working people, both non-union and union. For unions, this is going to increase leverage on wages that you can negotiate for your members. For the non-union, this is going to increase your wages, especially in relation to what the union contracts are able to negotiate. So this is a win-win for all working folks. Also give us a leg up on organizing more non-union people into the union. So it's a net positive across the board for working people. Now you might be thinking, what is the Davis-Bacon Act? Well, the Davis-Bacon Act of 1931 is a United States federal law that establishes the requirement for paying the local prevailing wages on public works projects for laborers and mechanics. The prevailing wage is a combination of the basic hour rate of any fringe benefits rate listed for any particular set of workers. The Davis-Bacon Act applies to contractors and subcontractors performing work on federal or District of Columbia contracts. And the reason for the Davis-Bacon Act is that it directs the Secretary of Labor to determine such local prevailing wage rates so that non-union workers, so that working people get paid a fair wage for the work that they're doing, comparable to the folks in their industry on federal jobs. If you're going to use tax dollars, you're going to pay a fair wage. That's what the Davis-Bacon Act is all about. Now let's dive into this article. This article comes from Construction Dive. And one thing that I love about this union-minded channel is it's an information hub. And a lot of times information comes from outside sources of other people that read up and learn current events that are affecting unions, and they share it with me, and I'm able to bring it to you. And that's why I love this community, and that's why we do these videos, so that we can continue to educate each other. Now, this article came to me through these information hubs. This is a Construction Dive article, published on August 8th. It was updated last on August 11th. The lead editor is Jennifer Goodman. Again, this is from Construction Dive. I'm going to put it in the description box. Davis-Bacon changes to be effective October 23rd, Department of Labor says. A new document provides specifics on the Labor Department's update to prevailing wage rules, including when they will go into effect. The Department of Labor on Thursday made public its final rule updating Davis-Bacon prevailing wage regulations. The 716-page document says that the rule will be published in the Federal Register on August 23rd, and that it will be effective 60 days from then. That's on October 23rd. It notes that the updates will apply to contracts entered after this date, but with limited exceptions will not affect contracts entered into before then. Despite the upcoming publication of the final rule, the changes are sure to face legal challenges, according to Roll Call. October 23rd of 2023. That's right around the corner. This year, it's going into effect. The department received 40,938 comments during a 60-day comment period that began in March of 2022. According to the document, which noted the reasoning behind the update. As the first comprehensive regulatory review in nearly 40 years, revisions to these regulations will promote compliance, provide appropriate and updated guidance, and enhance their usefulness in the modern economy, the document reads. When they're talking about promoting compliance, they're talking about stopping wage theft, which is the biggest form of theft in this country. Bigger than larceny, bigger than bank robberies, bigger than any other type of thievery you could think of. Wage theft. That's the capitalists stealing all of the money. The capital class using capitalism to steal all of the money that working people's labor generates. And they've done it expertly since the 50s and long before that. But the institute that did a study on just how much they did went back into the 50s, and they found that the capitalist class stole $50 trillion from working people effectively. It's wild. So this is going to promote compliance. No more wage theft. They'll be able to hone in on that. provide appropriate and updated guidance, and enhance the usefulness in the modern economy. The original story continues below. Let's go. It says, dive brief. The Department of Labor announced Tuesday that it will publish a rule updating the Davis-Bacon Act, which sets the prevailing wages contractors must pay on federal projects. The rule, first announced in March of 2022, will restore the Department of Labor's definition of prevailing wage to make it equivalent to the wage paid to at least 30% of workers rather than 50% of workers in a given trade in a locality, according to a White House fact sheet. This move is aimed at raising the hourly earnings of workers for prime contractors and subcontractors on projects that receive federal funding through the legislation, such as the Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act and the CHIPS Act. But construction groups said it will raise the cost of infrastructure projects for taxpayers. Notice who said it. Construction groups. This is normally the owner class, the capitalists, complaining that they're going to have to pay their guys more money and they won't be able to siphon all the profits for themselves. That's who this is, these construction groups. Watch, let's keep going. The Davis-Bacon Act, originally passed in 1931, uses pay surveys administered by the Department of Labor to set the prevailing wage in a federally funded project's location. The process can be complicated and cumbersome for contractors and has elicited concerns that it skews wage rates. Under the current process, at least 51% of surveyed wages need to be within a same or similar margin. If they're not, the weighted average as opposed to a simple average of all wages is used. That means more frequent occurrences of low wages could drag down the overall rate. To remedy that, Department of Labor's rule returns to the system used until 1983, when guess who? When the last changes to the act were made, when guess who? During President Ronald Reagan's first administration. Ding, 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 ding. If you guessed union busting Reagan, you win. At that time, the overhaul was viewed as a major blow to organized labor. I'm telling you, they've been attacking us since we started to join together. Way back in the 1600s, before labor was even a concept over here as far as organizing and unionism and all that other stuff. Working people have always banded together. Process changes. The new rule also makes the process of updating prevailing wage rates easier, according to the Department of Labor, by giving the department the authority to adopt prevailing wages determined by state and local governments, issue wage determinations for labor classifications where insufficient data was received through its wage survey process, and update outdated wage rates. Lastly, it adds an anti-retaliation provision in contract clauses to protect workers who raise concerns from being fired or punished. It also strengthens Department of Labor's ability to withhold money from a contractor in order to pay employees their lost wages. The new rule is sure to face legal challenges, according to Roll Call. The announcement was made Tuesday morning in Philadelphia by Vice President Kamala Harris and Acting Labor Secretary Julie Su, who also met with union construction workers and national and local union leaders. Later, the officials were expected to receive an on-site briefing at a construction site at the I-95 interchange with the Betsy Ross Bridge, near the site of a major roadway collapse earlier this summer. There's been a strong reaction. But guess from who? Contractor groups voiced strong opposition to the announcement. That's how you know it's good for working people. Associated Builders and Contractors, which asked the administration to withdraw the proposed rule shortly after it was announced, said it increases regulatory burdens on small businesses, new industries, and public works projects. Boo-hoo. Ben Brubeck, ABC Vice President of Regulatory Labor and State Affairs, called Davis-Bacon rules a regulatory boondoggle, known for increasing the cost of construction, discouraging competition from small businesses, and diminishing the value of taxpayer investment in government infrastructure projects in an email to Construction Dive. The DOL said it will mean thousands of extra dollars per year for more than 1 million workers and noted its far-reaching effects. These numbers will continue to grow, given that nearly all of the significant construction programs contained in the IIJA, CHIPS, and Science Act and Inflation Reduction Act require or strongly incentivize the use of Davis-Bacon prevailing wages, the White House statement read. And that's how you know it's good, because the contractors are crying. Whoosh, whoosh, cry, little doggy, cry. This is going to help. Now, for those union negotiators that are keen on this type of stuff, you can use this to your advantage to increase your wages for your members. For the non-union folks, you can look to this as positive reinforcement for why working people got no business voting Republican. My name's Eric. You're watching Union Minded. Let's remember, the fight's not left and right. It's up and down. It's going to take class solidarity to win always. Each one teach one, get out there and reach one. And there could be no union without you and I front and center. Peace.